What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on the situation going on with Ja Morant. Ja Morant, as you know, during the Golden State Warriors game, Ja Morant gave he gave like the shotgun sign. I guess he had made a shot and directed it towards somebody on the bench of the Golden State Warriors. Right. And so the commissioner spoke to him about that and, asked him, probably just asked him, don't do that. Just refrain from doing that. Right. And so the very next game, Ja Morant goes out and he does the same thing. But only this time he gets a $75,000 fine. Right. And so now I think that if you're going to, in my opinion, I think it looks like that they are picking on Ja Morant, but giving Ja Morant's history with guns and stuff like that, you can kind of see why the league don't want to see Ja Morant do that. And I think that Ja Morant he probably is taking it as well, like y'all singling me out. You're holding my past against me. And sometimes people do, their past is held against them when you have say like if you was if you got a job and you embezzled some money from the job and you get convicted of that, you serve your you pay your debt, you serve your time if that's the case, but you still are not allowed to work in like financial institutions because you're somebody who stole or embezzled, right? And that, that's because of your past. If they're not going to allow you to work in financial institutions. And so to me, it's sort of like the same thing because of his past. He can't, certain things he's not allowed to do. He has, he has like almost like he has forfeited his right to make that sign, so to say, because if he hadn't had the past that he had with flashing guns and stuff like that, then it wouldn't be a big deal because you see a lot of other players do that around the league. So Ja Morant kind of has he kind of had the commissioner and the NBA over a barrel because he could say, Ja Morant can say that, y'all singling me out. The NBA is going to say, well, no, your past, it's because of your past that, you're being singled out. And which I think Ja Morant will probably win because, they'll be like, well, if you're not going to tell everybody don't do it, then you can't really tell Ja Morant not to do it. But I think that this argument for Ja Morant is really not important, and to me, I don't understand like Ja Morant, his father in his life. And I know Ja Morant is a grown man and he's his own man. But like when does your father's wisdom step in and say, well, this is not a hill that I think that you should be willing to die on. Just you really, you wanting to put your career at risk, possibly lose endorsements, lose money, just so you can flash the gun sign. Like you gotta, is that worth the investment? I could see if this was like a civil rights argument or a human rights argument or something like that, and you're willing to um or a discrimination type, somebody's discriminating against you and you're willing to put your career on the line for that. That's like more commendable to a lot of people, but like so you can flash the gun sign. And then you're showing up your boss, who is the commissioner of the league. Um, you know, and so even if Ja Morant they say, well, Ja Morant is right. You can't single Ja Morant out. He still, in the long run, could wind up losing because now you're pissing off people and you're embarrassing people who are, who have more control, more connections. And so in the long run, something like this could hurt Ja Morant's career. And to be honest, Ja Morant, like over the last couple years, Ja Morant has been hurt. He's been suspended. He has missed. Let me see. So he played 124 games and missed 122 games. So almost like 50% of the time he's not even there playing. So Ja Morant needs to focus on like more important issues, like getting into the playoffs with his team, improving his game, trying to help him make his teammates better, trying to make himself an asset to the team rather than standing on this issue right here. Like, can he flash, the shotgun sign? And I think that's where something like I said, well, his father should be able to come in and just, be the voice of reason. All right, so so the NBA might be picking on you. You might feel like the NBA is picking on you. You might feel like they're singling you out. But look at the big picture. Stay focused on what the big picture is, and realize where you came from, and how hard it is for people to get into the NBA. He is I think the NBA has like 450 people in the NBA. And so when you have 450 basketball players. So if you got 450 basketball players every year, and then you have like millions of people who want that job around the world, man, you don't, you gotta be I think you would have more concerns about trying to keep your job, trying to get better, because you got people shooting for that spot every year, and so you're not guaranteed that job every year. You got, like I said, you got kids graduating from colleges. Um, you got guys coming from the G League who want your spot. You got guys coming from overseas. It's just a lot of competition out there. A lot more things for Ja Morant to be focused on, rather than if he can throw up a certain sign or not. Like, and if I'm Ja Morant's competition and I'm somebody who wants to be a shooting guard in the league, then I'm all for Ja Morant, standing on business about on this topic, because I know in the long run he going to find himself on the outside looking in. So yeah, if I'm a 6'2" shooting guard and I want to play for the Memphis Grizzlies, then yeah, man, go ahead, do your thing. Stand on business. And when they get him out the league, and see, that's where, again, like I said, where his father come in. It's not um, just not allowing Ja Morant to lose focus. I don't know. I think you got tennis shoe contracts, other endorsements that'll go away. If this NBA job go away, then those all those other endorsements will go away along with them. And I don't think it's really worth it, in my opinion, to be able, just to throw up a certain sign. And especially when you know how you messed up in the past with those off the court incidents. And is it wrong for the NBA to want Ja Morant to represent them in a positive way? I don't think so. Is it a lot to ask, you know, from Ja Morant? I don't think so. I just think that, like, he's been given a golden opportunity to make generational type money for himself, his mother and father, his kids. You know, why not continue to reap the benefits of your hard work? You just don't want to see somebody take this type of opportunity and not max it out. you know um and how he could max it out is just by making himself a better ball player. And if he focus on making himself a better ball player, then he will see that flashing, signs on the court is not even really, it's not big at all. It's really not important at all when you look at the big picture. And so I just don't understand why his father don't step in and have a talk to him, or maybe his father did talk to him, and then Ja Morant is just so out of control. But I don't know. I just know that if I talk to my kids, you know, they would, you know what I mean, and told them that, don't lose sight of the big picture, you know. But we'll see what happens. If he think that this is serious enough for him to risk his NBA career or risk showing up the NBA and his boss Adam Silver. We'll see how it turns out, But in the long run, players don't usually win these type of disputes, especially something as frivolous as this. He not going to win. Even if he think he's won, he won't win in the long run. It'll be just costing himself money. He won't be maximizing his opportunities. So yeah, I don't know who's advising Ja Morant, who has his ear, so to say, but whoever it is, they're doing him a disservice because they not telling him, just let certain things go, man, and get better on the basketball court instead of, you know, I don't know. I think he's overplaying his hand basically, and he lost sight of what's really important. But that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next video. Peace.